Alright, welcome back to Junk Shop Library, everybody. It is Friday, so you know what that means? Absolutely nothing, because we're not on a schedule here. We just make fun of the Bible whenever we feel like it. We turn today to Exodus 29th chapter. We got design instructions for priestly duds last time. Today, we've got instructions for action. And this is the thing that thou shalt do unto them to hallow them, to minister unto me in the priest's office. Take 1 young bullock, and 2 rams without blemish, and unleavened bread, and cakes unleavened, tempered with oil, and wafers unleavened, anointed with oil, of wheaten flour shalt thou make them. And thou shalt put them into 1 basket, and bring them in the basket with the bullock and the 2 rams. And Aaron and his sons thou shalt bring unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and shalt wash them with water. And thou shalt take the garments, and put upon Aaron the coat, and the robe of the ephod, and the breastplate, and gird him with the curious girdle of the ephod. And thou shalt put the mitre upon his head, and put the holy crown upon the mitre. Then thou shalt take the anointing oil, and pour it upon his head, and anoint him. And thou shalt bring his sons, and put coats upon them. And thou shalt gird them with girdles, Aaron and his sons, and put the bonnets on them, and the priest's office shall be theirs for a perpetual statute, and thou shalt consecrate Aaron and his sons. And thou shalt cause a bullock to be brought before the tabernacle of the congregation, and Aaron and his sons shall put their hands upon the head of the bullock, and thou shalt kill the bullock before the Lord by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And thou shalt take the blood of the bullock, and put it upon the horns of the altar with thy finger, and pour all the blood besides the bottom of the altar. And thou shalt take all the fat that covereth the inwards, and the caul that is above the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, and burn them upon the altar. But the flesh of the bullock, and his skin, and his dung, thou shalt burn with fire without the camp. It is a sin offering. Thou shalt also take 1 ram, and Aaron and his sons shall put their heads upon the head of the ram. And thou shalt slay the ram, and thou shalt take his blood, and sprinkle it round about the altar. And thou shalt take the ram in pieces, and wash the inwards of him, and his legs, and put them unto his pieces, and unto his head. And thou shalt burn the whole ram upon the altar. It is a burnt offering unto the Lord. It is a sweet savour, an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And thou shalt take the other ram, and Aaron and his sons shall put their hands upon the head of the ram. Then shalt thou kill the ram, and take of his blood, and put it upon the tip of the right ear of Aaron, and upon the tip of the right ear of his sons, and upon the thumb of their right hand, and upon the great toe of their right foot, and sprinkle the blood upon the altar round about. And thou shalt take of the blood that is upon the altar, and of the anointing oil, and sprinkle it upon Aaron, and upon his garments, and upon his sons, and upon the garments of his sons with him, and he shall be hallowed, and his garments, and his sons' garments with him. Also thou shalt take of the ram the fat and the rump, and the fat that covereth the inwards, and the caul above the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, and the right shoulder, for it is a ram of consecration, and 1 loaf of bread, and 1 cake of oiled bread, and 1 wafer out of the basket of the unleavened bread that is before the Lord. And thou shalt put all in the hands of Aaron, and in the hands of his sons, and shalt wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. And thou shalt receive of their hands, and burn them upon the altar for a burnt offering, for a sweet savour before the Lord. It is an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And thou shalt take the breast of the ram of Aaron's consecration, and wave it for a wave offering before the Lord, and it shall be thy part. And thou shalt sanctify the breast of the wave offering, and the shoulder of the heave offering, which is waved, and which is heaved up, of the ram of the consecration, even of that which is for Aaron, and of that which is for his sons. And it shall be Aaron's and his sons by a statute forever from the children of Israel. For it is an heave offering, and it shall be an heave offering from the children of Israel of the sacrifice of their peace offerings, even their heave offering unto the Lord. And the holy garments of Aaron shall be his sons after him, to be anointed therein, and to be consecrated in them. And that son is that priest in his stead, and that son that is priest in his stead shall put them on 7 days, when he cometh into the tabernacle of the congregation to minister in the holy place. And thou shalt take the ram of the consecration, and seethe his flesh in the holy place. And Aaron and his sons shall eat the flesh of the ram, and the bread that is in the basket, by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And they shall eat those things wherewith the atonement was made, to consecrate and to sanctify them. But a stranger shall not eat thereof, because they are holy. And if aught of the flesh of the consecrations, or of the bread, remain unto the morning, then thou shalt burn the remainder with fire. It shall not be eaten, because it is holy. And thus shalt thou do unto Aaron and to his sons, according to all which I have commanded thee. 7 days shalt thou consecrate them. And thou shalt offer every day a bullock for a sin offering for atonement, and thou shalt cleanse the altar, when thou hast made an atonement for it, and thou shalt anoint it to sanctify it. 7 days thou shalt make an atonement for the altar, and sanctify it, and it shall be an altar most holy. Whatsoever toucheth the altar shall be holy. Now this is that which thou shalt offer upon the altar 2 lambs of the first year, day by day continually. The one lamb thou shalt offer in the morning, and the other lamb thou shalt offer at even. And with the one lamb 1/10 deal of flour, mingled with the 4th part of a hin of beaten oil, and the 4th part of an hin of wine for a drink offering. And the other lamb thou shalt offer at even, and shalt do thereto according to the meat offering of the morning, and according to the drink offering thereof, for a sweet savour, an offering made by fire unto the Lord. This shall be a continual burnt offering throughout your generations, at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord, where I will meet you to speak there unto thee. And there I will meet with the children of Israel, and the tabernacle shall be sanctified with my glory. And I will sanctify the tabernacle of the congregation, and the altar. I will sanctify also both Aaron and his sons to minister to me in the priest's office. And I will dwell among the children of Israel, and will be their God. And they shall know that I am the Lord their God, that brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, that I may dwell among them. I am the Lord their God. Exodus 29. Did I read that right? I mean, you know what I mean, aside from the slips of the tongue. Did I understand that to say a morning lamb sacrifice and an evening lamb sacrifice every day for the rest of time? These people are in the desert. How are they keeping this many sheep alive to begin with? Not to mention these 7 bulls that they've killed in the first week to sanctify the tabernacle and such. I know they pretty much they're kind of in too deep to back out now, right? At least Aaron and Hur and the various, the core group, and everybody else is trapped in the desert in this caravan with no way to go anywhere. You know, it's not like they can just wander down to the 7-Eleven and catch a bus up to Nineveh or whatever. But imagine old man Moses wanders back into camp, and in addition to, you know, killing the witches and stoning the disobedient children and the various weird livestock regulations, and wanting to make this pimp my tabernacle project, or pimp my tent project for a tabernacle, and the pillars of brass and all this other stuff, and the uber fancy priest suit for Aaron and special ones for all of his sons as well. In addition to that, Moses says, oh, and by the way, I want you to kill all this many animals to sanctify the the pimped out tent. And then I want you to kill one sheep in the morning and one sheep in the evening every day for the rest of time. But before we even get to that, we've got to go through the part where Aaron takes the blood of one of the sacrifices every day and puts some on his ear and his thumb and his toe and his son's ears and thumbs and toes. Don't stay too close to volcanoes. In addition to the lava, there is the problem of toxic gas that can cause hallucinations and brain damage. Just saying. Seriously though, what the hell are they feeding all of these sheep? I mean, we're kind of spoiled by our deserts, here in the US at least. Because when you say desert, you know, you think of endless expanses of sand, what you're really thinking about is the Sahara. You know, where there straight up is nothing for literal days' travel. You know, why they don't have to have guns on the desert-facing side of the Fort Aqaba, because nobody would be crazy enough to try to come across the desert to attack them. Yeah, somebody out there got that reference. What was I talking about? Sorry, I have not had enough coffee yet today. Oh, anyway, the desert. Well, you know, that's sort of the image that you have in your... I say, and I am unanimous in this, the image that you have in your head of desert. And then in America, you go to the closest thing to that, and, you know, there's some regions of, you know, Nevada or the Dakotas where there's straight nothing. But, you know, you're going to have cacti and sagebrush and various tumbleweed. You know, there is plant matter somewhere. We're talking the Judean desert here, okay? The Iraq-Iran area. Rocks and sand. Maybe a weed here and there just because a seed got blown by the wind 100 miles away, you know, 75 years ago, and happened to fall in the one crack in the surrounding hectare that happened to have a drop of condensation. And I mean, this is mythological desert. Literally mythological desert. This is what they mean by desert when you read your ancient literature and your ancient mythology. Places where demons are held to live because nothing real or sane could exist out there. And they're wandering around in it and somehow keeping enough sheep alive to sacrifice one just for the hell of it every morning and every evening and expect to do that for the rest of time? Come on. Alright, well, I've prattled on longer than I should about that. We'll be back soon with Exodus chapter 30. We're in the home stretch, y'all. Chapter 30 is the Thursday of Exodus. Exodus only has 40 chapters, so we've only got 10 more to go. I wonder if anything actually happens in the rest of it, or if it's just more instruction manuals. Oh! Alright, well, check back with us next time for chapter 30 when we talk incense. Y'all take care, be safe. If you have not yet poked the Pope, follow the example of our latest member. Thank you, number 10. Welcome aboard. And poke that Pope. Look at the look on his face. You know he wants you to. Bye now. Y'all take care.